Like I say, I wouldn't let them arm. Well, some people, like I say, armed even though I told them, well, I would not supply aircraft. I would not put guns on aircraft myself. At least not right away. Like I say, for one thing, we did do some tests with aircraft and guns. We tried some wing guns, like I say, two guns shooting like this, and like I say, you just get crossfire, basically. Um, to put it off to the side is the best, but the thing is, they still couldn't hit anything. Um, when you have guns out on the wings, it's really hard to hit anything. The pilots couldn't. We put little things, little markers, little lines on the canopy, so the people would know about where the guns would be perfectly aimed at. So they could get behind them and shoot and actually hit something. Um, anyway, though, and also, we kind of discouraged air combat over uh, over towns because if you shoot a bullet, those bullets they fall, and we tell our pilots, when you're shooting over towns, those bullets are going to fall and probably hit someone or hit a house, probably kill someone. So try not to discharge firearms over or discharge your guns over populated areas because you're probably killing civilians on the ground. Maybe not. Maybe it's just a field. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's a cow. But those bullets will keep going. So anyway, because there were incidences where people were hit by stray bullets and stuff like that, and it's like, where did they come from? Anyway, or maybe a plane had actually strafed them and they just didn't want to tell us or me. Anyway, though, but basically, I restricted aircraft to basically be only cameras as long as I could until basically people were arming the aircraft anyway, and it's like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna have to do something about this, and that's when we start putting the first guns on the front, and we start doing the interrupter, and that was Germany, by the way, and basically English. The interrupter, Renault. Well, the past Renault, basically, me, LS. Anyway, and then after that, and they were hugely popular, and everybody wanted one. And well, I only sold to certain people and all that other stuff because I didn't want just anyone getting one. But they got them anyway, of course. They were aftermarket and there were black market, basically interrupters that were being sold and manufactured, and stuff like that, which was really annoying. But oh well, you can't stop technology. So anyway, but I had them first. So anyway, which meant basically um, anyway though, but there's a lot of things like there's a lot of basically some black people were flying around. Basically, the black people went for the guns and stuff like that, and they were even trying to steal. Like I said, that there's this one thing where we built this air base and we had aircraft coming in, and basically some black people had the Africa had found out where and when the aircraft were going to be, and they had even arranged or threatened or gotten them to be there, and basically tried to eliminate the guards. Anyway, and my people caught them sneaking out, trying to get into the aircraft to start them, um, and then and take them off and fly them away. And then they were scared off and they ran into the woods or whatever. And then my people, because they killed a couple people to get into the aircraft, and then they couldn't start them because we didn't supply the batteries with them back then. We had put them on the airbase, and actually without the batteries would be there in 2 days or something like that. So anyway, because we shipped them, for some reason we shipped it separately because the aircraft came, I guess they didn't know we didn't fly them in. We shipped them by truck in, and then assembled them, and they were sitting there, but they didn't have the batteries in them. So anyway, the Aborigines or whatever snuck out, got into the aircraft to try and tried to start them, and they wouldn't start up. So then they abandoned, but they had already killed some people to get to the aircraft, and then they snuck back into the woods. So the Germans and me, we sent in dogs to go root them out, and we did. And then I think we killed them. I'm not sure. Anyway, or imprisoned them. Anyway, there were a lot of black people that were ending up in prison even back in 1930. We just kind of kept on collecting. But like I said, most black tribes or most African tribes are basically warrior tribes. I used to use them for security somewhat, but they just ended up being rapists and killers anyway. So they really weren't securing anything. They were just raping and killing, almost as bad as JFK and John McCain. So anyway, and like I said, they were just trying to kill as many white people as possible. So anyway, so we hunted them down. That's why people think that it was America. Well, it wasn't really America that was attacking the people. It was actually John McCain and basically Harvard and Yale and some Yankees, pretty much, or whatever, and some Bloods and Crips and black men, Mr. Brown, Harlem and Wolf. Like I said, originally it was this little yard there was the LS shipyard and LC shipyard, which is now the French shipyard, but the LS shipyard down from that one. And or there's two shipyards in Belfast, and then on the very end or somewhere off to the one side, there's this little shipyard, a couple 100 feet long, and they bought an old steam winch to pull ships up, and they were scraping off barnacles, and people were complaining because they would just take tar and dirt and stuff it into cracks in the boats. When they were repairing the boats, they would say all repairs are final, and then they would stuff tar and dirt into the holes, and basically put them back and then paint over it and then put them back in the water and say that they had repaired the boat, but they hadn't really repaired the boat. They had just kind of covered it over. And that was Harlem and Wolf. And plus outside of the Harlem and Wolf yard was basically like the rape zone pretty much. There was trash everywhere. It was really bad. It smelled. There was no public toilet. There's no toilets at all for any of the people, and there's a bunch of black people milling around, and it was basically a really bad place to be. No one went there. It was basically like the ghetto part of Belfast, pretty much. Originally, it had originally been a good repair shop, but I guess I think maybe I had sold it or something, or given or donated it to them because it was run down, and I had the bigger shipyard, the LS shipyard. So I was like, well, I don't really need that. Eventually, I think they had gotten an old steam winch or something to help them get the smaller boats up, and they were doing some fishing and stuff for food and stuff like that. And a bunch of people were getting sick from salmonella poisoning from eating their fish. So pretty soon, nobody would even eat their food. But like I said, the black people were purposely trying to poison the white people. And also, like I say, they got a shop. Mr. Brown moved into a shop up in Belfast, and then he was pooping in the toilet. Or one of the places that I had a town, they were pooping in the water supply for the town. So they were poisoning the people. Like I say, it's actually an Aboriginal thing to smear yourself with poop and then dip it off in your what's called, and then use that to shoot your enemies. That's actually a black African thing. So anyway, it's also a black African thing to do all kinds of other nasty poisons on the tips. It's not a Chinese thing. It's not anything else. Like, there's a lot of lies about where the poisons and the poison tip arrows come from. That's actually a black African thing and not a Chinese thing or any other race thing. That's not like that. They're the ones that want to do the better, whatever. Anyway, the little darts and stuff like that. China did use them somewhat, but not in the same way. That's really more of a black African thing there too. And kind of just, it's not really, it's underhanded kind of stuff. And anyway, though, that's all black African tribes, basically. That's what they do. Anyway, and it's for hunting and stuff like that. And although, it poisons the meat, so it's not really, anyway, I don't know, it's not really valid. So anyway, though, it's just kind of anyway, though, but that's where all that comes from. Like I said, I knew the tribes very, very well back in the past, so I know where all this stuff came from. So I was like, oh, those people. Anyway, apparently they had decided to turn their back on everyone, or me, anyway, and tear it all down.